Welcome to Clueless with Ogre and Big Paulie. Welcome to another episode of Clueless with Ogre and Big Paulie. How are you, Big Paulie?
Ogre, I am fantastic as always, but I'm so keen to speak to you, Ogre, because I missed out on a very important event on the weekend, which I know you're going to share with us, but it's been in my calendar for the last few years. And it's the Super Dads Walk, where all these dads get together and wander around to different homes around the local area. But of course, I'm not so local anymore, and it was a little bit of a stretch to get down there. But next year, I'm going to put it in the diary well in advance, and I'm thinking I might get down there next year. But how was the walk, Ogre?
Yes, a charity walk for muscular dystrophy. And as Paulie alluded to, 16K we did, Big Paulie. And
16K?
I didn't time it. I didn't use the steps, but 16K I was told. And I felt it in the hips a little bit since then. But charity walk that is not a start and finish. It stopped along the way at 6 houses that are themed by a country, and while you're at that house for a little refreshment, you get something to eat from that country and a beverage from that country. So we did have Italian or Italy, America, Ireland, Aussie, and finish with Germany, and the last one had no food, but we had a Corona. And then on to the after party for the band, Big Paulie. It was a great day and a great event for a great cause in muscular dystrophy.
And so let me set the scene for those who haven't been, of course. So it's a great charity event. A very good friend of ours whose son has muscular dystrophy. This event has been going on for a long time. There's probably 15 years, yeah. And all the local dads, so we're all ex-Blackburn people or eastern suburbs, and all the local dads from the footy club and cricket clubs and just mates, they actually meet in a spot predetermined, and then they walk around the streets of Blackburn and intermittently stopping at guest houses. And as Ogre touched on, each house has got a theme. So at the Aussie house, it was probably, wasn't there, of course, but it was probably snags and
Snag and VB.
You know, and then at the Mexican was obviously the beer, and then the American might have been hot dogs, etc. So you get the theme, and each station has a special guest or a comedian or something, and then it culminates in a big auction for charity, and it raises and has raised thousands and thousands of dollars. So a shout out to old mate Brett Bajaya and his family. They do a super effort, raise a lot of money, and a big shout out, of course, also to the Blackburn dads and the general community. I didn't make it, so I'm disappointed about that. And I have been on occasions, Ogre, the guest auctioneer, and so I missed that a little bit. But I'm told on very good advice that my old mate Rowan Calder, who hosted one of the stations this year, he was the guest auctioneer. Probably not as good as me, Ogre, as you wouldn't have thought, but a couple of $1,000 for 4 rounds, 4 people for golf down at Heritage. Sorry, not Heritage, down at what's the one?
Welcome to another episode of Clueless with Ogre and Big Paulie. How are you,
was
Big
it
Paulie?
again? One of those good clubs down the peninsula. Anyway, a couple of those, couple of grand each, and big fundraiser. Great day for the local dads, and I will be there next year, Ogre.
Now, Big Paulie, I did have a chat to someone because we're walking 150 blokes are walking the street, and you can, walking in twos or threes along the local streets. And someone came up to me, a good friend. He said, I have recently been down the Bellarine Peninsula, and I was down there for a 50th. And I came out of the water one day after having an early morning swim to blow out the cobwebs, and I saw a guy cleaning the barbecue. And I thought, this is a bit random, but I'll go up to him and said, hey, do you know Paul Oglethorpe? And he goes, no, I don't. He goes, I thought I'll listen to this podcast that he's on, and they interviewed a barbecue cleaner. He goes, oh, yeah, that was me. Obviously, he knows me as Ogre, as your connection, Big Paulie. And it was our mate Scotty Dell. and they're randomly having a chat there. And you've checked in with Scotty Dell?
I did check in with the barbecue man, Scotty Dell, today. And look, it's fair to say he was puffing the chest out this afternoon when I spoke to him about here he is just minding his own business, cleaning a barbecue or two. And this is the reach, Ogre. This is the reach of the Clueless podcast. Randomly down the coast, some bloke, you mate of yours, sees the barbecue cleaner, puts two and two together, and good luck to him. He's been up to see him, and he said, "Are you that bloke?" And again, he didn't connect with the Paul Oglethorpe stuff, but as soon as he said Ogre, oh mate, he was onto it. And so then, but you know what, Ogre, we spoke to him about a lot of stuff and about cleaning barbecues, and he actually said, your mate, that it inspired him to go and clean his barbecue. So that's what he did. But you know what they spoke about the most, Ogre? Has he told you this?
No.
So you may recall, old mate barbecue man may have had how do we say this, an interaction with one of his clients that, let's just say, wasn't quite cleaning the barbecue, if you know what I mean, Ogre. So
I do.
All your mate wanted to talk about was that interlude, what happened and how many times it had happened and how it all eventuated. So he wasn't that keen on cleaning the barbecue in the end, although he did. It was more about old mate Mr. Barbecue, how many times he'd, let's just say, entertained clients.
The extra services. There he is, Scotty Dell, podcast famous. But we're here to do that again tonight, Big Paulie, and we have another great guest with us tonight. And last episode we had our first female guest, and we're going to back that up with our second female guest. And I'd like to welcome Tina Roberts to the Clueless podcast. Hello, Tina.
Hello, Pauls.
Pauls, yes. Hello, Tina, and welcome. And by popular demand, I think people, our listeners, might be sick of me and Ogre and bantering on with our male counterparts and our male friends. So by absolute popular demand and request, may I add, you are now our second female guest. And I've got a few questions for you, but we'll get to those in due course, I'm sure.
So for our listeners, Tina has successfully run a small business by definition, no doubt by effort, in the beauty field, and it's a beauty shop. And look, it's not a shop that Big Paulie and I would go to, Tina. So we're here to find out a little bit more about it. Speak for yourself, you're saying, Big Paulie.
Speak for yourself, Ogre. I may know a friend who perhaps may have indulged in some of the services, perhaps that Tina may have serviced in the past.
So, Tina, to start with, welcome to the show, and just run through what was some of the service in your beauty business, because we want to go back to where it started and where it got to, but run us through so we know as ignorant males of what services were available.
Well, we didn't actually do too many men, unfortunately for you guys.
But that's okay. Run through the services you'd offer for women.
We specialise in Brazilian waxing for women, males' favourite subject. We were one of the first salons in Brisbane to do the Brazilian.
Can you just entertain us, for those who may not be as well versed as Ogre and myself, about Brazilian waxing? What exactly does that involve?
Well, you can guess what country it originated in. So in Brazil, they obviously didn't leave a lot to the imagination in their swimwear choice. So they had to have it all off downstairs, nice and clean and smooth.
Hairless down the nether regions, we'll say. Anyway, we'll come back to Brazilian waxing, Big Paulie. Let's just run through all the other services. So you specialised in that. It was obviously there's other parts of the body to be waxed. So you'd obviously do the normal legs, eyebrows. What about the upper lip?
Yes. We did the upper lip, the face. We did the other little secret thing called bibs and bobs. If someone booked in for bibs and bobs, that was, you knew you were in for it. That was when you had to do their nipples or something bizarre, or their back of their knee, or it was a bit of a private thing they were too embarrassed to request on the phone. So we did bibs and bobs. We did all facials and manicures, pedicures and tinting. It was pretty basic beauty stuff. I had the business 30 years. So it hadn't changed much over the years. And spray tanning was huge because it's Brisbane.
So how long are we going back here for the modern woman, if you call it that these days, is probably open to those types of things. But 30 years you've had the business. So are we going back 30 years? So let's just backtrack. 30 years is 1990 something. So there's women in 1990 coming into your little shop for bibs and bobs, maybe a Brazilian and maybe a lip or a nipple touch up. Does it go back that far?
Well, we were one of the first salons to do the Brazilian, and I was quite a prude growing up. We were, getting changed behind closed doors in our family, and then with friends. So I didn't want to see nude parts. I was shy and I was disinterested. But when I found that other clients were going to other salons for Brazilians, and I found how much you could charge for them, my little competitive streak took over, and we started doing strippers, prostitutes, and then normal housewives and models and everyone. It caught on. It was Queensland. No complaints from
How popular is it?
Well, it's more popular than not. Like most young men these days wouldn't recognise a mat downstairs. They wouldn't know what to do with it. They wipe their feet on it if they come across one.
Really? Wow, this is interesting. So how do they...
Paulie, let's go. You're straight in the Brazilian waxes. Can we just go back to how the business started? So, Tina, we talked about the shop, but you didn't start the business in the shop, right? So Big Paulie's just gone straight for it. He normally goes, what was the inspiration normally he would get into? What was the inspiration for you to start in the beauty? And so run us through that.
Well, I was an athlete during school days and had lots of energy, but then I did...
What sport?
Athletics and cross country.
Good. I'm getting a picture.
So then I went to uni and I did teaching, which I did not enjoy at all. So I then went and studied business, which I found incredibly boring, had a break for a year, and I always wanted my small business of my own. I just didn't know what in. And I always liked a little bit of beauty. Who doesn't? Dabbled in it on the side at home, read Dolly magazine, Cosmo, copied all the makeup pages. And then I did a course, and 6 weeks later I started my business, which was way too early. Millions of mistakes.
And whereabouts did you start that? At home?
I started in a little granny flat in the backyard of my house.
Olga, she started in a nether region. Weren't you listening a little earlier?
So how do you generate business? It was mainly friends and word of mouth that started to trickle in the clients?
I used to work in a restaurant most nights, so I had all the staff there and customers. I'd be telling the specials of the meal for the night, then also plugging my own business. I wasn't shy. That was probably on my side. Loved the chat.
And I do a cheap leg wax on the...
And I was cost effective. But I did print up flyers and walk the streets for days and days and weeks and months on end. I always did. And that had the little phone number on the landline going back, 30 years ago.
Pre-mobile
phone.
phone.
I guess I decided to get a pre-mobile phone, landline, answering machine, people asking for bibs and bobs, and the next client hearing exactly what she was getting done. And I had that for 18 months, and then I took the plunge and rented a small premises. So, yes.
So I'm jumping ahead a little. The mind's racing here, Olga. But you would like the soup, you'd like the bread, maybe a steak, and would you like a Brazilian with that? Is that like the McDonald's theory? Like, here's your food, here's your drinks, and would you like a Brazilian? Is that how it started, or is that how it finished?
Well, the more you get off, the more you pay.
Pardon?
So the more that you take off, hair-wise, the more you have to pay. So a lot of people book in just for a short back and sides, a few spiders' legs off around the bikini. And then they're like, oh, can you go a bit higher? And I'm like, sure can. For another $30 I can. So, and yeah, it just sort of went from there. And then we actually devised a way to do it pain-free, because people always say, what's worse, the pain or the shame of a Brazilian? So we let them have a disposable G-string on to negate the shame, so they had a bit of privacy. And we did it really quickly and relatively pain-free. And in 15 minutes we talked.
But how do you say pain-free? Here's pain-free for you. So my girlfriend, Tina, uses an epilator, right, which I didn't even know what was, but it's like 100 bloody, I don't know what you say, but she's done it on my arm before and it hurt like hell. So when you say pain-free, how can you be waxing, whether it's bikini or full Brazilian, any part, bibs and bobs, how can that possibly be pain-free? Is that just because women have a higher pain threshold than males and me and Paulie wouldn't understand?
Well, it's all in the technique. We used good preparation. We supported the skin. We pulled the hair off the correct way. You just adjust your technique. Like really overweight women, you had to get an elbow in there and spread them, and it was an effort. Or very thin women, you bruise them on the bone. So, and we worked around a G-string the whole time, so the client had a bit of dignity.
Okay, didn't have to show the lot.
Although there's always nudists, I had a million surprises. Women like to strip, it turns out, in front of beauty therapists. And being a prude, I was always saying, put your clothes back on, put the G-string on. They're like, no, I don't need to do that. I'm like, yes, you do. Pop your gear back on.
So just again, walk me through this. So when you say they want to strip and you're doing the nether region, as let's call it that, the nether region, do they get their top off and everything as well, bro? Like there's no physical point to do that, but is that what they do?
No, look, a lot of them are a bit nervous to come in. And so I have women who are getting a half leg wax, which is from the knee down to the ankle, and I'd come in and they're stark naked, lying with their legs spread on the bed. It's like, oh, love, pop the gear back on. I just need to see your shins. That's it, not your bits.
Asking for a friend, how long does the course take to become a qualified beauty therapist?
About a year. I did the first year of nursing, the diploma of science, with just have the background of the anatomy and physiology. About a year full time.
If my friend wanted to do an accelerated course, how quickly could they move into this sphere?
Not much quicker, unfortunately, and it's expensive now. It used to be about $1,000. Now it's about $15,000, $20,000 for the course. So it keeps men away. To get free it's expensive.
$20,000 for a course.
It just deters me.
Wow, to get the wax on, rip it off, and that's it.
I do want to touch on. You did say at the start you didn't do men. I want to touch on that. But as a, did you find that males were also in the field as waxers? They would exist, wouldn't they?
Not really. I had a couple of men that applied over the years, but I was in a fairly conservative, affluent area, and my clients just wouldn't have liked a man. You are going for a private treatment. You do want some level of normalcy and of what you think you would expect. It's not hairdressing. And women know women's bodies better. Sorry, guys.
No argument.
It's not through lack of trying. But, Tina, so is there any precursor conversation? Hello, Tina. Thank you for coming to our studio. I just wanted to let you know that there's no judgment. Keep your clothes on. This is going to hurt. Anything like that? How does the initial conversation go? What are you in here for? Anything like that?
Well, regardless of what you'd say, like you walk down the hallway and you'd introduce yourself and ask if they'd been there before. We have notes on everybody, quite funny notes as well, behind the scenes notes of, oh my God, she's got such and such, or lovely, easy, like just helpful notes, private notes. But you normally explain, could you put the G-string on and I'll be back in a moment, and you come and once again for an eyebrow wax, someone's nude or taking their undies off. I'm like, why have you done that?
They don't explain.
Well, she's just probably spray tans as well, like bending over in your face with their full nude, and you're like, that's a little bit close to my face. I don't need that.
Do you do the McDonald's thing? Like, thank you. Are you here for the old eyebrow wax? But by the way, would you like the nether region done as well? Like you upsell it all?
Absolutely. We upsold everything. Once you have them in that room and they know that you are doing a good job, then you'll just fly through it and make more money and give them more than they need. Some people are just testing you out as well.
Well, I have to ask, and Oga knows that I like to talk about money and stuff. How much does it cost for a woman to say, hello, Tina, I'd like my nether region done? What's the cost? Do they get a quote first, or do you get them in the seat and get their clothes off and go to work and then give them a bill? Or
Well, a lot of salons do charge according to how hirsute you are downstairs, but I found I wanted to be more egalitarian, so we just had a flat rate. They were about $45, and we could bash out about $20 an hour with all the girls working. So it was good money.
Wow. So how long would they take? I mean, because I'm still getting over the pain-free. I was just going pain-free.
15 minutes from the time they walk in the door to the time they paid and left.
Wow.
15 minutes on the clock.
And 20 an hour. So what's that? The 20 an hour, 15 minutes. So how many staff did you have at your peak?
4 or 5 always. And Thursday nights, Saturday mornings, all the peak hours, we'd be belting them out. Yes, and spray tans as well.
And again, so I keep going out to the pain-free. I just don't understand. But obviously it's your technique and the way you do it.
Okay, pain reduction. Let's call it reduced pain.
So it still would hurt, right? Still less pain, so it's they can accept it. So when you have employed staff, would you need to show them the technique, or they would know how that technique would work?
Well, my sweet spot for staff were girls that worked in another salon, like in a shopping centre for a year. And so they've got the idea of quick waxing. And then they come to us and they do a trade test in the interview. And then we get them on the bed and we see what they can do on another girl, one of my staff usually, or on me. Not Brazilian straight up, but more eyebrows, half leg, underarm wax. And then we'd be like, oh my God, this girl has got no idea. Next. Or she's good, we'll get her back on the floor the next day and let her into the fields with the real clients. And then we tweak it. Because if you can wax and walk fast, you can work fast.
Okay, so there's no wasted time. It's walk them in and walk them out and back again, repeat.
It was a sweatshop. It really was a sweatshop. But it was and the girls got good bonuses. We all made money and we were affordable, so the clients loved it.
Yeah, great.
And we own the building, so we could be affordable as well.
We're going to touch on your real estate professional as well, because you're a landlord, a mogul property investor. But I'm just not sure, Olga, that I can get past the visuals that are going through my head at the moment, and the pain and everything else that goes with. And I just cannot believe there is so many women looking to do this stuff. And
well, it's on trend. It's on trend, Big Paulie. So I think when Tina started, the Brazilian probably wasn't on the menu. So it would have been more bikini waxing and all that sort of stuff. And it's just become the trend of, the 2000s and beyond. And I think, as Tina's already said, it's very natural, and it's more often that would have it than not have it. So I think you need just to get over that, Big Paulie.
Yeah, you need.
That's what trends are.
Yeah. Well, I'm always a bit behind the times, and I'm. This is called clueless for a reason, Ogre, and this has absolutely stumped me, and I am clueless about all this stuff, and so much so I've dropped my microphone, and I'm not sure if I can continue.
And again, you've totally forgotten about everything else on the menu that Tina has. Like she mentioned facials, petties, all that sort of stuff, and you've just gone, I think in the first minute you've just jumped straight into it, Paulie. So
I'm in a lather of a sweat, Ogre, but I do need to go back to it. Do you do males now? Like, do you do any male work?
I sold the business 18 months ago.
So during your time in the business, do you,
Yes.
and you've said you didn't do males, was that a clear decision from day one, or is it something you learned along the way and said, nah, we don't need that.
Well, the first job I had for 6 weeks was at the Salon at Myer, which, Myers, David Jones sort of thing, and they used to have that upmarket beauty salon. And one of the first clients I ever met was like a 30-year-old male, and he came in for a half-leg wax, and he had men used to wear their Speedos, like their budgie smugglers. And I walked in, he'd taken his shorts off, and he had a massive erection bulging through his swimmers.
Oh my God, how do you deal with that?
I was 21. He wasn't attractive, but even if he was, I was, first week on the job. So I threw him a hand towel, and then I proceeded to wax him with a tent formation the whole time. He even had to roll over on his, God knows what happened to downstairs. I think it was awkward for him. It was hideous for me. I just realised I was going to work late at night. My salon was in a city, but it was in a residential area. And I just didn't want to be there with men alone, all my staff. So we did the odd male leg wax for customers' husbands, but that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing sexy, unfortunately, even though many men are Brazilians, with many, many police visits coming, prank calls, men loitering, rubbing themselves against the desk, trying to get an appointment with one of the pretty girls. In their work van out the front, ABC Electrical, like, mate, I know where you work. We call the cops, we call the employer, but yeah. And that was you, actually, Big Paulie, I think, from memory. That was the first time I met you, when you came in asking for this.
I don't do electrical, so it's not me, but I reckon it's a fair chance. If that fella got excited about a leg or a lower leg wax, it's fair to say that bloke is probably in jail at the moment, I'd reckon. Still doing time.
Yes. No, we mainly did women, and it was fun.
So, Big Paula, you talk about the Brazilian and it's now on trend, but, I'm finding that more males are shaving themselves. I'm just saying the shells, I'm not talking about their nether regions, but for footy and things like that, starting to do the ankles, starting to do the legs, runners are the same, cyclists would be the same, and it's not just your professionals, it's just your everyday as well. So trend, less hair is on the go, obviously.
Well, some call it aerodynamic, Olga, but I think it's fair to say I've heard that as males, if you actually do the nether region, it makes the old fella look a bit bigger. Now, I don't know anything about that, but it makes a bit of sense. Maybe Tina can help us out, and I don't know if you've been down that path, Tina, but we probably should move on, Olga, before we all get into trouble and talk about the extension of Tina's career into other stuff.
Before we go on, Tina, you had mentioned off air that at one stage you did try and do the Guinness Book of Records for most bikini waxes in an hour. So what was that record before you tried to attempt to give it a try?
It was 180, and I knew that I could do it. So it might have been in a 2-hour period, actually, but I knew I could do it. You just had to line everyone out on the street, and I was on a main road. That would have been easy enough. All my clients were ready for it. My accountant, funnily enough, was encouraging me at the time. He operated from offices across the road. Still is my accountant to this day. He's one of my good business acquaintances. But I'd worked out I could make it, but I needed to have all my ducks in a row. But someone did break the record, an Australian woman, a Perth woman. I don't know, a few weeks before I was about to attempt it, and she doubled it, and she was in a shopping centre, and I just thought, I can't do it. I'm not an I can't person, but I really genuinely took my hat off to her. It's still there, that record.
Really?
She got 300.
300 even on the dot.
Yeah, or 300 and something. Not Brazilian, just short back and sides.
Yeah, it's bikini wax. Big Paulie.
Oh,
yes.
not bits and bobs, just to be clear.
No, clearly.
Oh, bikini.
It was just a bit of a publicity stunt. So, but I ended up not needing it.
So what exactly entails a bikini wax for our listeners, not me and you, Olga, of course, but what exactly is a bikini wax? What part of the outside the nether region does that include, if it does not include that?
Well, the bikini wax is just around, if you wear like a standard bikini or brief, it's just so you don't have any hair showing, spider's legs out the side. So we do the sides, across the top. Then G-string is a bit closer in, so there's no hair outside of G-string. And Brazilian is all off, top, back, around the backside as well. Or you can leave a strip at the top. You really need to book in for one.
Wow, I've got to start reading a little bit more, I think, to understand all this. Look, I'm an old man, for want of a better word, and this is an interesting discussion. Thank you, Tina. I'm not often left speechless, but geez, I'm bordering on that about now because my mind is well ahead of my voice and my comments at this stage. I've got to slow down, Oga.
So it's quite intimate, obviously, the process, and I'm not just talking about the Brazilians, but and there's going to be a bit on show, but you're engaging with a client quite closely, so there must be challenges there, whether it's what you're seeing that you haven't seen before, or even hygiene and things like that you and the team must have had to get used to, and they might have been in the little notes you kept on them.
It was incredibly confronting, and coming from a prudish family, I'd never seen other people's boobs before. And here I am with waxing bloody Jenny Bloggs' nipples because she's got a note, bibs and bobs in the file. I also detested feet. They made me want to gag.
Feet.
So we started using hospital disinfectant in our pedicures so I could actually stomach doing a pedicure and touching feet. And we had to put windows in because some people would come from a day in the office with pantyhose on and want to wax and reach. I'd be gagging, like dry reaching. So it wasn't good. And then you just see the physical sort of abnormalities that would occasionally give you a little bit of a fright. And you're still working and trying to act like everything's cool and everyone's got such and such. But inside you're just thinking, oh, my gosh, I need to research what the hell I just saw on that human body.
So Tina, as part of your notes, did you write, okay, so and so, let's call it ABC, ... and you weren't perhaps complimentary in your notes. Did you ever, when they ring up for the next time, and go ABC, bring that up on the screen and go, oops, sorry, we're booked out, and maybe not include them for the next appointment?
Well, the biggest reason why we would turn someone away is if they no-showed, which some people just would hog an appointment once a month and then never turn up for it. So we just wouldn't return their call. This is pre-internet, pre-online booking. I used to have massive, big printed diaries that we would handwrite everything, and then we'd have a personal book for the clients. But it was more about warning the other girls. I had young girls working for me, 21-year-olds, 23-year-olds, and they needed to know also other things like so-and-so's husband had just passed away last month, and every time he gave her a facial, she would cry because she hadn't been touched before, or someone's child was incredibly ill. There was that heartfelt side to it, or there was sort of the repulsive side of, oh my God, this woman hasn't showered in months, loves talking about how she's just had sex this afternoon. I can guarantee she hasn't had a shower. I can smell the boyfriend on her. That sort of stuff. It was more like a bit of a heads up, like a warning.
So for someone who's getting a waxing, and obviously they repeat customers, obviously, but what's the most common fear of a first timer? Is it just pain or is it exposure?
Believe it or not, it's the shame over the pain. They would often say to me, "Do you look?" I'm like, "Well, I've got to see what I'm doing. I can't do it blindfolded. That would be extremely dangerous." So it was like, and I don't record it. We don't video it. They were more paranoid about, oh, do I look overweight, or have I got big flaps or whatever? Like, they were a bit paranoid. So working in the industry, it is really healthy because I know what the average woman looks like. And it makes you feel better about yourself. You realise what's scarring, what scent, what smells people have, what they've gone through physically, emotionally. So I mean, I've had breast milk squirted in my eye from waxing waxing a woman with a newborn, the baby's crying in the corner, and I've had breast milk in my eye. She's squirted. I've squeezed pimples, and the pus once went in my mouth because I was leaning over. It's pretty gross. And we never used gloves back there. Gloves are a new thing, 10 years. I did everything hands-free. It's like gloves-free, which is revolting.
So pimples was on the menu as well, was it?
Well, we do extractions in a facial, and I learned to keep my mouth shut.
Did you charge extra for the breast milk extraction, or was that just?
I didn't, and it was actually handy because I can laugh and say I've had breast milk on me before I had my own children. What's called chest feeding now, isn't it? Not breast milk. Lots of different bodily, lots of flatulence when you're waxing someone and they get a fright and a little bit of a gassy moment, and they try to cover it up. I'm like, love, there's two people in the room and it wasn't me. You did that one. But you just sort of smile and it teaches you to be pretty resilient in a room with someone who's compromised, and you've still got to be.
And it nearly becomes clinical then, it's nearly like a doctor's appointment and all that sort of stuff as well. And you said sometimes that they can be quiet or they can be oversharing.
Yeah.
You become a bit of a therapist along the way also?
You do. We used to joke and say that the waxing was complimentary, but we just charged for the therapy. But some people have no friends. They come into you and tell you everything. Like, I wouldn't tell my hairdresser or beauty therapist a single thing. I go in to have a sleep. I say to them, I don't want to talk. But some people, they're really, really lonely or really paranoid, or they're just happy and want to share. But some of them you do. I have made some good friends out of it as clients as well. So some of them you just have a great connection with.
Tina, a question that's been on my mind the last couple of minutes. Does any of these females bring a friend, or in particular their husband or their partner or their boyfriend or whatever, or is it just a one-on-one?
Yes, they do.
What? They bring the boyfriend?
No, I've saw so many of men coming in to more that big gym junkie type man with the tiny little gym junkie girlfriend, and he'd be telling me, no, take more off the wax, do more, and guiding what he likes, her to look like downstairs, a lot of that. I had fathers coming in sometimes saying that about their teenage daughters. I found that incredibly unnerving, so they were banned. It was bizarre, absolutely bizarre. And
the fathers or the daughter?
The father would be saying, oh, no, she needs more on the bikini line for water polo. Everyone played bloody water polo. That's what they said. They needed a higher bikini. It's like, oh, my gosh. A lot of friends come in, like 5 girls would come in at once to support each other, like for schoolies when it was first Brazilian. It was fun, though. I enjoyed all of that. And once the first girls, the guinea pig, then everyone's happy and it's all laughing at each other and it's all good fun.
Yeah, it's so diverse.
I'm having some troubles here. So let me just walk this back a fraction. So 5 young girls say, okay, we're coming in for Brazilians, and who's first? Okay, you're first. So you go and sit. Do you sit in a chair, or what happens?
On a bed, on a waxing bed, like a massage table.
And just like legs up, stirrups and all that sort of stuff? Or is
that
too many?
Because we devised this way where they'd wear a disposable G-string, so to eliminate the shame of it. And it was always one leg at a time. We do breathing techniques with them, sort of like an antenatal class, so that they wouldn't tense, and that way they'd release the hair follicle, the muscle around the hair follicle. It still hurt, but we could definitely negate a lot of the pain.
This is a lot more complicated than I'd ever thought. So this girl's on the bed. The other 4 are back there playing doof music maybe, or clapping and cheering. And then how long does it take, by the way? 15
minutes maximum.
Right.
On the clock.
So then,
it's quick.
So the first girl done 15 minutes. She goes to the back of the queue. Up next, Darl, you're going. They go there and they start clapping and cheering again. Is that literally like cheer squad stuff?
Some do. Some go in together. Some wait out in the waiting room, and hope for the best. It just depends. It's all different walks of life.
And you were happy to accommodate any of the requests?
Anyone, my only rule was you had to wear the G-string because I used it to support and keep the bits out of the way I didn't want to wax. And it just made it easier for me and easier for them. So, and if they didn't have it on, I'd say pop it back on, please.
I'm going to ask just one last question, and then we'll move on, Olga, again. But so, has there ever been where you haven't been able to complete the job? So, old Missy over there, she's got up the courage, and you're halfway through waxing, and it's all going well, and then she just can't tolerate the pain or the shame or whatever the situation, and she says, "I've had enough," and she goes out with half a stripe.
To be completely fair, with some of my younger, newer staff, yes, but we always had a policy where they'd knock on anyone's door and we'd go and help them because we never wanted anyone to leave. There is always a way out. The wax can come off, but you've got to it's not an easy job to do, and it's trickier Brazilian wax, so you have to be confident. The wax sets, it cracks. I have had a lady once who started labour and I was waxing her. We used to wax pregnant women when they were standing up, because they couldn't lie down, they'd be faint. And I was like, no, I'm nearly finished. And I still finished it. I pretty much wouldn't let her go. Look, most people, once they have that trust, they would let you finish the job. And they'd normally been somewhere else and it was atrocious. So it was always easier straight away to say, I can do better than that other salon.
Yeah. Back to yourself, back to your own skill. Love it.
I need a rest. I need a little rest, Olga. So you soldier on while I just decompress a little bit, and I'll follow you in.
I'm just going to do some rapid fire questions, Tina, and I want to just come, and then we'll move on to the real estate stuff that you've got involved. So rapid fire question. I got brows versus lashes. Did you do lashes?
I didn't. No, that was before my time, and I'm not a big fan.
So yeah,
to be honest, you've got to be specialised in them. No,
okay.
Brows. I love doing brows, even though I had a few disasters early on with them, ripping people's brows off and hoping they wouldn't notice.
So walk out with one or none?
Pretty much ripped through one in one of my first Christmases late at night and took about a whole centimetre off the middle of the brow. Not good. I didn't do it again, but the fact that I did do it wasn't good.
How do you deal with the client in that perspective? Like you go, oh my God.
Well, I just had to say sorry, but I just learned from it. I dropped the wax. I must have slipped and dropped the wax, and normally you would just pick it off the opposite way. But I panicked because I was only young, and lo and behold, 5,000 hairs were attached to that piece of wax. I apologised profusely. She abused me, but at the end of the day, no one died. Yeah. Everyone, the show went on. She never came back, but that's okay.
Hard wax versus strip wax.
We only did hard wax, or hot wax it's called, on bikini lines and sensitive areas, bibs and bobs, eyebrows, underarms, because it is more sensitive. It's a lot more expensive, but it's better for sensitive areas and does a better job. Hard wax, but we did strip wax on legs, and I enjoyed doing that.
I just need to ask a question, Olga, and I'm a little how do you know the difference? Is this part of your research, or what is hard wax and what's strip wax? What the hell is the difference?
Just the questions, Big Paulie. But
strip wax is like honey consistency, and you apply it with a thin stick, and then you remove it with calico strips. And then hot wax you apply, it's more like a beeswax, and it's hardens or softens. It's like chewing gum consistency, and you remove it with your hands. So they have different jobs. But if you ever have a Brazilian with strip wax, it's not great. It'll be bruising.
And how much wax would you go through? It sounds like you must have been buying it by the 44-gallon drum.
Oh, we go through a lot. At one point, we were the biggest user of a privately owned salon in Brisbane. Oh, gosh, I wouldn't know. Probably 30 kilos a week, so 1,500 kilos a year of wax.
All right. What is, in your view, the most overrated beauty trend?
Now?
Anytime.
Probably eyelash extensions that look like dolls.
not a
like
fan.
fake.
Not a fan at all. And when are
No.
young women going to realise that males are not a fan? And we don't count, okay, we're a bit older, but like they don't. There is
No.
nothing good about an eyelash extension, as far as I'm concerned.
If they're natural, they look great. They look fantastic. The most invaluable beauty treatment, though, is an eyebrow wax and a spray tan. It will change your whole appearance and make you lose 5 kilos. So they are brilliant as spray tans. We used to do hundreds of them, about 200 a week of tans. We went through a lot more tan than solution than
How
wax.
much did you charge for those? Just asking for a friend, Tina? 200 times?
Oh, I think they're about 39, 40, what was it, $39, $45 I think they are now. But I always did that psychology of pricing, price the dollar under the
So let's just call it $40 at 200.
decimal, so $39.
That's 8 fatties jumping in for a bit of a
We do a lot. We do weekly spray tan clients.
Wow.
They'd come back. It was great.
weekly. Why don't they just go out in the sun?
Well, it's not as safe.
UV.
And we can do an even job.
I tell you what, it's a delicate situation.
It's a huge business.
I've seen a lot of yellow spray tans, or is that the solarium, or both? Because solariums are banned now.
But not from proper
Now the
salon.
old cheap one.
Yeah, not from good salons. Like we had about 5 different colours that we could choose from, like violet bases, grey base, green base, that would stop the orange throw. And there was extensive notes written on clients. So if they said, I've had an orange spray tan at another salon, we'd know that they throw orange. So we'd have to put mixed green into their base. And yeah, the spray tanning we're done well. It is a life changer.
Yeah, great.
How long would a spray tan last? Okay.
You understood the rapid fire part of this little part, didn't you, Big Paulie?
No,
That's
no.
the question. About
My
a
mind
week.
is in overload, okay. I'm overstimulated at the moment.
About a week, you said, Tina.
I'm a visual sort of guy, okay. You know that.
You usually get it for an event. It's optimal time is for the first sort of 72 hours, and then for about a week you still have a bit of colour, but it can come off depending on exercise, what you're wearing, like tight tops will rub off at leggings.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what's one product you can't live without?
Oh, gosh, probably I still use the same moisturiser that I had when I first started the business, a brand Jurleek
Oh,
from
Jurleek.
Adelaide. And Jurleek, yes. I still use that same brand, even though they dumped me about 10 years ago for not spending enough because they went into department stores. So all of us small salons got dumped. I still use that same product. My kids buy it as my go-to birthday, Mother's Day, Christmas present.
So where does Oil of Ulan fit in the landscape of moisturisers?
I don't know if it does.
That's
I
the
don't
extent
know.
of
Stop buying it, Big Paulie.
I think genetics is the biggest part. I really think it's all about genetics, beauty, and washing your face and using a moisturiser. Vaseline's actually not too bad on the skin either. It's all about stopping the moisture leaving the skin. So Paw ointment is fantastic at night without selling your product. I was terrible at sales.
If you don't mind me asking, it's a man thing, but you mentioned Vaseline. So is it true that
Yes.
if you because I can't hold a cologne on me, so like I could just about drink aftershave and everything, I just can't get a whiff of it. But I did read somewhere that I'm not sure if you put it on before or after, but spray cologne and then Vaseline, or Vaseline then cologne to hold the scent. Is that true? Do you know anything about that? Can you help me with that?
I haven't heard about that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to look it up, though.
Yes, well, please come back to us next time, because I like to see, and you see some males who smell fantastic, but I can't. I don't know, won't stick on me. I don't know about you, Olga.
Nervous talkers versus silent eye contact in your clients.
Are you talking about me, Olga, as a nervous talker?
I think you would be.
Did I prefer or was more unnerving?
Well, more unnerving, either, or more unnerving, and really be the opposite. Be the
The nervous talkers are easy because they're just waffling on, and they're also getting their mind off what you're doing. off, so the pain. This silent type are unnerving because they're what I used to have people watching me. Like I was doing manicure and their bloody head is in between me and the hand. I'm like, excuse me, can you put your head back? I can't see what I'm doing. The control freak, quiet type was my nemesis. But you just do a good job and you think about what you're cooking for dinner yourself that night and what you're doing on the weekend and just do a good job.
So, Tina, we'll move on. You mentioned that you went from the granny flat at the property you were in, you went into the shop, and then from being in that shop, the opportunity came to buy it, and that was, early days in your, real estate world that has continued on, and you still own the shop itself, even though you've sold the business.
Yes, I was pretty fortunate. It was $90 a week was my rent, but it was 23 square metre shop that didn't even have a front door. It was completely derelict. So we had to go in and renovate it. And I always loved tinkering on houses. I'd done that for a long time as well. But I'd still locked in the cheap rent. And my landlord lived next door. And I think I was there about 7 or 8 years. And he always promised he'd sell it to me. And he did one day, but way under market value.
And that was for your shop or the set of shops?
It was for 3. It was like a little character housing area, inner city Brisbane, and it was 3 shops on a corner plus a block of land behind. So I was pretty lucky back then.
Yeah. So that sort of you've continued on in that. So you've always continued to dabble in the market itself and bought and sold at different times.
Yes, my goal was always to have a business, but to not be a slave to it. And when I had children, I had a really sick child, preemie child, who was in hospital for months and months, and he was fine, good prognosis, but it did make me realise I can't work the way I want to work. I'm going to be a full-time mother, and the business, my goal was to make as much money but not work the hours, and that was great. Once I separated myself from the business, it was posting record profits without me. Everyone's replaceable, and my team at that time were brilliant. So it was a real heyday of beauty. I also got a bit lucky because 2 of my closest competition salons, one lady had an affair with the local butcher and then husband found out about it, shut her business down, and the other salon next to me burnt down or down the road. It made it look like I had a hand in both. I didn't. So she was next to a bottle shop and they kept breaking in through her shop to get to the bottle shop, and then once it burnt down. So I had a few lucky breaks, but also a lot of years of making no money and being a young girl and doing like 6 hours with no clients, just waiting there, hoping for the best, walking the streets with flyers. Yeah, so then I started buying little houses and renovating them and renting them out, and I realised I could do that with kids and it was still have the business as cash flow. So yeah, and I'm still doing that now. That's what I've got.
And you enjoyed that renovation part of the real estate world too.
I do. I love, tarting up products and makeover. So the only TV I watch is renovation shows or makeover shows. I do a bit of carpentry as well. I enjoy it, painting, love it. Really love it. So still doing it now, and it's just much more flexible and without the customers, because the customers did change over the last 5 years. I had the business with Google reviews and Facebook and Instagram, and I don't know, people were just so rude in the end and really dangerous and detrimental to the business. Like they come in there and have to wait 5 minutes and then be slagging you off in a big review. So it sort of just made me realise my time was ready to not deal with people for a little while, even though I missed it too.
And the real estate plans, a little focus on the Brisbane Olympics coming in 2032.
We've got to look, it's another lucky break. We had property that was very undervalued and we all bought them up, for like $200,000 or whatever back when I was buying houses, and sat on them, and now they're worth 10 times that. And we had this little sweet spot of people our age who bought houses cheap, plus we have huge domestic migration coming from the southern states. Paul, I've always think you should move up here, and the Olympics carrot dangling.
Big Paulie has.
Well, I'm I moved up here already, Tina. So I am. I'm on the Sunshine Coast myself. So we might have a little side conversation about maybe you need a real estate agent to help you with your transactions, because with all that's going on at the moment with the capital gains tax and the government and all that sort of stuff, we might have to sell all the real estate and put the money in the pocket and into something else. So we might chat off air, Tina. I just want to help you. That's all. Just want to help you if I can.
Sounds good.
So talk about we've got 6 years for the Olympic Games, and there's a market there for incoming people from around the world looking for a different accommodation also.
There is. My next move will be, I have a little Airbnb in northern New South Wales on the beach. You've been there before.
I have, Yamba. Put Yamba on the map, I reckon.
He has put it on the map. And I would probably like to, in inner city Brisbane again, a character area, buy not a derelict building, but something I can do boutique accommodation in, probably 4 or 5 room, like upmarket accommodation. Not with me working there, possibly live on site, have it all just, digitally sort of managed, and self-check-in and just have cleaning staff. So that's probably my next move, and hanging to the Olympics for that. And cash in.
Amazing.
And enjoy it and be proud of it. We love our little city. Brisbane's a great place to live, and it's hard to believe we're deserving of the Olympics. We've got a lot of work to do. They've finally only just decided on where the stadium will be. But it is a great opportunity. And I'll probably wrap some beauty in that, in my little hotel, go back to the roots and throw it both in there.
Well, as a fellow Queenslander, Tina, let's just hope that the Queensland government doesn't end up like the Victorian government, Olga, and, they'll sell off the Olympic Games and have a blowout in transport and infrastructure, and who knows where we'll end up. But it's a great place to live, Olga, and you should join us.
Yes, you should.
And if you need some help with real estate, I can do so. I can help you, Olga. And you too, Tina.
Sorry, Tina, you had to say something?
No, it does seem like a really one-sided conversation. I feel rude not asking you guys questions, but I realise that's the format.
Oh, no, this is how podcasts work, Tina. You're the guest. We ask the questions. Occasionally, we overindulge ourselves, or maybe me. But you're talking. I was a bit out of my depth with the old Brazilian waxing stuff. But talk real estate. I'm all yours. I'm all ears.
Well, Tina, thank you so much for your time tonight. We've learned a lot in how the not so much a side hustle, but it was a part-time start while you're working in restaurants, from the granny flat to a store to regular clients and record profits from when you're not in there yourself, and a lot of insights into the world of beauty for me and Paulie. And I know Paulie spent most of the time talking about Brazilians, but there's a lot more to a beauty shop than Brazilians, even though I think you did start and say, well, we specialised in Brazilians, and that's totally forgot about the rest of the menu, didn't you, Big Paulie?
Is there anything else on the menu, Olga? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to sleep tonight as I recap these conversations. As I put my head on the pillow, and all I can see is and smell the wax burning and the screeching of clients and the cheer squad in the background going, yeah. So I don't know how I'm going to sleep, Olga or Tina, but I'm sure I will.
Well done, Tina. Inspiration to young up-and-coming women who are starting any business and just keep cracking and keep handing out those flyers to get the business through the door. And thank you for joining us tonight.
And if you need anything else to perhaps, if you still want to get back handing out flyers, I've got a real estate business just up the road, the Sunshine Coast. You're welcome to hand out flyers anytime you like.
I don't think so. No more handing out flyers for me.
I can understand why.
Thanks for joining, Tina.
Thanks for having me, guys. Loved being part of your show.
Well, Big Paulie, second female guest for us, Tina Roberts. Back to back we've gone, and dare I say that we've learnt a lot.
We have. Well, I have. I can only talk talk for me, Ogre, and you're far more educated in some things better than me. But there's a reason we're called Clueless, Ogre. And today with Tina and our previous one with Heidi, I am absolutely clueless. So I feel much more capable now of talking about Brazilians in particular, but more particularly the beauty regime of the beautiful women that surround us, Ogre. So I might have to listen in and might have to chime in for the next time I hear a couple of the girls at work talking about their beauty regime, and might have to educate them, Ogre.
You might say it ought to be there. It's all the way. Apparently, you can do it pain free. You'll be an expert, Big Paulie, and I'm going, oh, who's the creepy guy? He's the expert on Brazilians.
Who's that old creepy guy talking to me about that stuff? Yeah. Okay. HR. That'll be direct dial.
The guy from ABC Electricals here again.
Not guilty, Your Honour.
Well, that's what we hope to bring to our listeners, Big Paulie. Something that's not spoken about every day, something we may not know about. We're finding it and we're bringing it, and hopefully they're enjoying it.
Well, we're just here to educate and perhaps on a good day entertain, Ogre. So, but it's more about education and being less clueless for stuff that we know nothing about. But I'm excited going forward. It's now March, Ogre. There's so much to look forward to with the footy coming on. I've got a guy lined up I think who'll entertain us and give us a bit of an insight into a bit of social media and a bit of footy commentary and a bit of footy analysis. So that'll be a nice little lead-in. As long as he takes my call, Ogre, we should be right for the next couple of weeks. I'll keep you posted on that, mate.
Beauty, and look forward to that. So thank you, Big Paulie. You've been listening to another episode of Clueless with Ogre and Big Paulie. Good night, Big Paulie.
Good night, Ogre, and good night, listeners.
You've been listening to another episode of Clueless with Ogre and Big Paulie. Follow, like, subscribe, even leave a review. Do it all. We'd love to hear from you.